Hello everyone, welcome back to the R tutorial part 2. In this video, I will cover data types in R. So there are four major data types that I will be covering here. The first one is vector, then matrix, then data frame, then list and other common types of data that I will be showing that are commonly used in R. To give a very overview of what are the different data types, I just Googled and found a nice picture, a nice illustration by TechVid1, which shows different data types or the data structures in R. Before I show the code, I thought that this is really helpful to see this illustration. For example, the vector data type, which we clearly see is a one-dimensional data, and the same color basically means all are same types of value. For example, if it's a numeric value, like 1, 2, 3, then it's all one, this kind of numeric values. If it is a character like A, B, C, then all are characters. So the second common type of data that is used is matrix. So we all are to some extent familiar with matrix. So this is basically a two-dimensional data. And all the values here are same type of value like numeric or others. So the third kind of data type is data frame. So I personally like data frame a lot because I use this in a lot of the places of my work. So data frame has the property that it allows you to keep different values in different columns. For example, assume that the first four column here is having numeric values. Then the the fifth, sixth, and seventh column may be having a character. Then there may be other data types like factor and others. So these are commonly used data type that I commonly use, and that's highly used in our for processing data and analysis. So the other kind of data structure that is commonly used is list. From this illustration, what we can see is the first row that have one value. You can assume this as a single value vector. That this item, this 2D item, basically you can consider it as a data frame. So then this is maybe a vector data, then this is also another vector data. So the main property what we can see is each of these parcels, for example, this parcel has one item here, you can call parcel as list. So list 1 has this item, list 2 have this item, and list 3 this, and list 4 this. So each of the list allows you to store different types of data. And then finally comes array, which is basically same two-dimensional data. If you layer that one over another, which is similar to three-dimensional data. So this is also one of the data types that is commonly used. So these are the different data types. We got some idea from this illustration, and now we will see how we can actually write codes in that. So you can download the codes from my GitHub page. I already shared in my video description. So if I open the code, which is basically, in this case, you will find the code name as like R beginner part 2, for example. So let us clear the console. You can press Ctrl and L to clear the console. You can clear the plot using this menu, and also you can clear the environment by clicking here. So if I go to the code, you will see that I have written all the different data types that I will be showing here. For example, let us go show the vector. So here what I have created is I created two vectors, vector 1, v1, and vector 2, v2. And the vector 1 have numeric values, vector 2 have characters. So if I run this line, which I can do by pressing Ctrl and Enter. In Mac, you can press Command and Enter. So running these two lines and then printing v1 and v2, we can clearly see that these basically have a single one-dimensional data. One is like numeric values and one is character. So we can check the length by length function and this class which shows the data type. For example, as we see these numeric values, and if we look at the class of the v1, and this which is numeric. So next, let's go to the matrix, which is basically two-dimensional data. And here I have created a matrix that have row number of 5 and column 2 and values from 1 to 10. So let's see how it looks like. If we run this line, m equal to matrix, and then see what m has, we can clearly see that the column 1 have 1 to 5, column 2 have 6 to 10. And we can also check the class, which is basically, in this case, the matrix. So so this is like a two-dimensional data that we frequently use. So the third data type, which is my favorite, as I said, is data frame that can store different types of data in different columns. So let us see how we can do that. So I'm creating 3 vectors. The vector 1 is C1 that stores 1 to 5, vector 2 is C2 that stores 11 to 15, and vector 3 is C3 that stores character A to E. And now I'm creating a data frame. So to create a data frame, what commonly uses using the function data.frame and writing the 3 vectors that I want in the data frame as separate columns. And now we clearly see 3 different columns with all the vectors actually brought together. And we can see the class of data frame using the common function class, or we can separately see what is the first column. For example, class, and now I'm writing df, then put in a bracket. So nothing before the comma in the bracket means I'm taking all the rows, and 1 after the comma means I'm taking the column 1. So I'm checking basically what is the class of column 1, which is basically integer in this case. I can also check what is the class of column 3, which is a character, as we can clearly see here. The third one is list. As we have seen that, so let's go back to the illustration again. The list can actually have different types of data in different list items. For example, these are vector, these are data frame, and different lists. So let us try to do something like this. So what I'm doing here, I'm creating a blank list, which you can do with a function list and bracket, and then I'm storing a data frame that we just created before. In the list 1, you have to put a double bracket to get into the list number 1 or 2. So that's a common rule to do that. The list 2, the second list item, have a vector that we just created here. And let's see how the structure looks like. So str basically structure. So the list has two items or 2 lists in this variable L, and the first one is data frame, and the second one is a vector, which we clearly see here. And the next one is factor. So this is very useful, especially for categorizing data. So I won't go too much into factor right now, because we will learn by working when we will be plotting data in ggplot and others advanced plotting I will be covering in the next series. And to give a very overview of how it does, as I said, it does some kind of categorizing. So let's do something like this. So that I have shared the link to download the data. And what you can do, you can download the data in your computer. So after downloading, you will find that there are a zip file that has data 1 and data 2. In the data 1, there are 2 CSV files. What I'm doing here is I'm importing these rainfall_data.csv into my R environment. So to do this, first what I did is I set my working environment or working directory to this folder, which I just copied this and pasted here. But be careful, you have to use the right slash, don't use left slash. So I'm setting the working directory, then I'm reading the CSV using read.csv function. So let's see the first few lines using the function head. So this data frame that we just read has date, month, year, location A, B, and C precipitation. We also see there's some NAR missing values. We will work on that later. So if I just plot, so just we will be covering what I'm doing here later. Just the main point I wanted to show you is the plot. So when I plot the year column, which I can write like this df.modified, which is basically this one, and $, and the column name. This is x-axis and the y-axis. So this shows something like this. So each of the values are separate. So these are like separate items which are shown as different points or circles here. But when I convert the year column into factor, for example, what I'm doing, the df mode data frame is storing in a different data frame, just storing that in a different data frame. And what I'm doing is I'm converting the year column into a factor. So to convert a factor, we can use a function as.factor. And after we convert that to factor, if I plot the same thing, the difference from the previous figure is the only thing is I just convert a year into factor. So it basically categorize the whole, all the values with the same year into same category. So this is a very simple example of like how factor does this categorizing. So there are a lot of things we will learn more in the while we work in data analysis and data processing and plotting. However, this was all about the data types, and thanks for watching the video.